From being an NBA player with a promising future to facing an untimely downfall, here's why Kenneth Faried needed to go to therapy. Now, there was a time when Kenneth was on top of the basketball world.
4 people, 3.5 score, 1 out in the three-point line, watching as Kenneth Faried just hats off. I mean, way not to quit on a play. That was just unbelievable.
Well, maybe that's an exaggeration, but still, he certainly wasn't lacking in anything. Fame, money, and a future in the NBA. He had everything. And just like that, he lost everything too. Obviously, this didn't have a good effect on his mental state. I mean, he'd been working towards this life, and just when it looked like the fruits of his efforts would pay off, everything went downhill. Faried has a reputation for being a hard worker, but even people like him have their share of ups and downs. He definitely didn't fare well after leaving the NBA in 2019. His mental health took a downward spiral, and he had to seek professional help to keep himself afloat. Fortunately, though, the therapy seemed to have paid off, and despite this setback, Faried hopes that he will one day return to the NBA.
So working over Thaddeus Young. That woke the crowd up.
His family played a big part in Kenneth's future comeback. After all, having supportive parents can change everything, and Kenneth's parents have always been eager to support their son's dream, ever since he first showed interest in it and started his career as early as 8th grade. His family's motto is, "Rebound the ball, Nard," which is a reference to his second name, Bernard. Well, let's just say that while it may not seem like much to us, this phrase was quite encouraging for the basketball player. In fact, it actually helped him on the court and made a difference in his family's life. Having a capable son can really take some weight off your shoulders. Faried's rebounding has put extra years on his mother's life, who has been battling lupus and has allowed his father to retire from manual labor. All was well when he was in the NBA, and Kenneth is looking forward to finding his place in the league once again. The former Denver Nuggets forward and Team USA starter is currently playing for the Mexico City Capitanes in the G League, and if anyone takes a look at his statistics, they can easily tell he's still a valuable player, which is something that'll help him achieve his dreams of getting into the NBA. Faried was last seen in the NBA in 2019 when he played for the Houston Rockets. He credits his success in Houston to the encouragement of coach Mike D'Antoni and players Chris Paul and James Harden. You see, the basketball player isn't exactly known for his shooting abilities, even if he did have a good enough 35% accuracy from long range, and yet they pushed him to shoot more three-pointers, something he had not done in Denver. It seemed like things were going great. Most people thought that this was the team for him. Unfortunately, though, he didn't return to the Rockets, and the pandemic hit at the worst of times, making it nearly impossible for him to find a suitable team. He has since played in Russia, China, Puerto Rico, and now Mexico City. That said, everyone knows that if he gets another chance, he will flourish in the NBA. After all, they just need a glimpse of his previous achievements to come to this conclusion. When he was the 22nd pick in the NBA 2011 draft by the Denver Nuggets, it was a gamble on the team's end, and it paid off. Faried averaged 8.7 rebounds and 12.3 points over his first 5 seasons. His other accomplishments include winning a gold medal in the FIBA Basketball World Cup. This was under famed coach Mike Krzyzewski, on a team that included Harden, Steph Curry, and Anthony Davis. Faried's work ethic and determination have made him a fan favorite. People respect the fact that despite facing adversity throughout his career, he's never given up. Besides, he remains hungry for another chance in the NBA, and he knows that he has what it takes to succeed.
Ball picked out of the hands of Wade by Foy, and here comes Faried. Almost lost it, and then missed it. And on the tip in, he backs it home.
Though it definitely isn't going to be a smooth ride. According to Kenneth, excessive opportunities can quickly become overwhelming. In fact, he's experienced this firsthand. Back when he was a rookie, George Karl was the first one who tested his spirit. And well, it turned out that George wasn't satisfied. Still, Kenneth wasn't going to let that stop him. Rather, the way he saw it, it was an opportunity to prove the coach wrong. And prove him wrong he did. Yet, as he became more and more successful, successful, things started to get burdensome for him, or as he described it, more money, more problems. So what exactly happened? We all know he was doing quite well before falling into depression. Well, it seems the trajectory of his career took a downhill turn when the Golden State Warriors burst onto the scene, led by an up-and-coming star in Stephen Curry. Nowadays, we all know Curry. I mean, he's one of the biggest stars in the sport.
Curry's gonna put it up, you know that. That guy's incredible.
But back then, the small ball era had just started. The league quickly started to adapt to this new style of play, and a game once dominated by big players became a three-point friendly league. It's not that big players like Kenneth still aren't an important part of the league. In fact, they're quite significant, but a player who doesn't have a consistent stroke from a distance will be at a disadvantage. And that's the problem. Kenneth is already undersized as a center, meaning he doesn't have a good enough jump shot. Size wasn't particularly important any longer. What the NBA needed were players who were able to guard against speedier players like Curry. And this didn't just work against him. Other players who were ousted because they couldn't keep up with the change were Timofey Mozgov and Roy Hibbert, among other slow-moving big men. There have, however, been some centers who were able to fit in with the new formula and adapt to three-pointers, like Brook Lopez. And when all this was taking place, Kenneth simply thought that he had to do more for his team. But the league wasn't the only one changing. The Nuggets were also being revamped. In fact, the head coach, Carl, got fired and was replaced by Brian Shaw. They also brought in Michael Malone in 2015, who worked the sidelines. Also, around that same time, Kenneth was injured. Now, he didn't want to go through surgery, but his condition worsened and he went to rehab, which resulted in his time in matches becoming lower and lower. Eventually, we reached the point at which we are today. Still, he looks back on his time with the Nuggets with fondness. Despite his unfavorable situation, he's hoping to make a comeback, but he admits that he'll need supporters to do so. This is a welcome piece of news since he almost didn't continue his career just last year. I mean, he got so discouraged traveling to Russia, China, and many other developmental teams. He ended up at a crossroads, thinking about whether he should continue his career or not. It wasn't until Mexico City that he got his first real chance to participate again since he left the NBA. And now, he isn't retiring, nor is he giving up. But he isn't looking to return to the league for another big contract either. For him, it's about the adrenaline he gets from playing and reclaiming some of his past.
Good rebound. Not just athletic, great timing. Nuggets looking for their 13th road win of the year. Faried with the extra effort. He now has 20 points.
He wants to show people he's still capable of playing in the NBA. Kenneth still thinks about his three sons, who still connect him with the NBA. It seems they play a big role in motivating him to get back in the game. According to him, money comes, money goes. But that's not what motivates him. He's always been in it because he loved playing basketball, and he hasn't let go of hope yet of playing in the league again. Well, folks, this is all there is to why Kenneth Faried had to seek therapy.